Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and this is the Agree to Disagree Show.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
All right. Well, it's technically the TNAM Daily Show, but I don't know. What is the doggone difference? I have mainly only been doing the Agree to Disagree Show, and I've only recently tried switching up the names. Maybe there's a TNAM AM Show, a TNAM PM Show, a TNAM Daily Show. That was the intro that I just made. Spliced and diced a supercut together for the program. Programming note, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, will be the rescheduled interview with Mr. John B. Wells from Caravan to Midnight. That is the plan for tomorrow. That was theoretically originally planned for today, and now it has been shifted. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, however you are watching out there. Ah, you love the opening. Cool. Here, let's put the chat up. There we go. Hello, Deb from SAC. It's ma'am. It's ma'am. The ma'am show. Hello, Kenneth. Hello, Deb from SAC. Hello, everybody. Yes, very much looking forward to my conversation with Mr. John B. Wells, rescheduled for tomorrow. So we'll do that tomorrow. All right, let's jump into the news. It's going to be a busy day, so let's get into it. Where's the volume? So breaking, U.S. Attorney Alina Habba has officially charged Democrat Representative LaMonica McIver with assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. Oh, she messed around. Now she's about to find out. This carries 8 years in federal prison. How about some terrorism enhancements like they did to the J6ers? The peaceful J6ers who walked around a building had their lives flipped upside down. How about some terrorism enhancements while we're at it? Let's listen. Playing around. Look at elbow, shove, pushing, elbow, shove. What do you think she was going to be doing here? Like, she is at the front line. Arms flailing, elbows flying. So there you go. Their stupid little road show. Okay. There will not be behavioral changes unless you start arresting the people who are causing the problems. Have I made myself clear on this point? The stupidity that we've dealt with in America for the past 20 years, especially the Democratic deep state foolery, the buffoonery, the criminality, the stupidity, and the brazenly ridiculous overstepping of blocking roads, destruction of property, theft, assault, worse, up to treason. Yes, we're talking about Joe Biden being out to lunch for 4 years and everybody knew it. If there are not going to be arrests, we're going to get more of this. If you start arresting these idiots, you will probably have less idiocy to worry about. So how about we do more of this? This being arresting the idiots who are doing stupid things. Stupid as stupid does. That lady in red needs Jenny, Craig. That was funny how that joke came together. Stupid is as stupid does. My mama always said Democrats would like a box of chocolates. Full of calories? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. Okay. So she is going to be busted. Good. Good on her. Hey, speaking of busted, listen to Bernie Sanders talking with Andrew Schultz about the Democrat Party, how they've been rigging all of their primaries for 20 years. Will there ever be any accountability for what's been going on? The fraud and treason.
Problem I think a lot of voters had is like they didn't even know if it was her. We didn't even know if Biden was president. We didn't even know if these were her talking points. And we felt that over the last 4 elections, Democrats, we felt that we didn't have a say on who could be president. We talk a lot about the Republicans being autocrats and oligarchs and taking over democracy, but from the Democrat perspective, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
No argument here.
I donated for you. I mean, I wanted you to 2016. I was like, this is going to happen. This guy's going to do it. And it felt like they stole it from me. And I'll be honest, it broke my heart when you supported him.
Look, but you have, in the world that I live in, you got a choice.
The world you live in, you have a choice.
And I mean, a lot of people, including my wife, agree with you. But, you know.
Including my wife agree with you. But then I told my wife, how are we gonna get these fancy houses if I don't go along with it and just get that money and let them do whatever they're gonna do. I gotta work on my Bernie.
You're down to a choice. Is it going to be Hillary Clinton or is it going to be Donald Trump? Not a great choice.
But it ended up being him anyway, so why don't we burn it down?
Ah, finally.
Well, because it's easy to say burning it down means that children are not going to have, food to eat.
Children aren't going to eat because the dirty deep state Democrat Party splintered to 1,000 pieces. Bernie, you are so effing full of it. No, children don't starve because Democrats don't get their way. Man, I hate the people that pull stunts like that. Well, somebody think of the children.
That the schools will deteriorate, people will not have health care.
I got it.
And I'm an elected official. I got to represent the people.
That's fair.
And I can't turn my back on.
But then could we not also say if ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? Yes. We often hear.
Fair enough. That is. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
The problem I think a lot of voters had is like they didn't even.
Okay, good job, Andrew Schultz. Mike Davis here says from the first arrest to its ruling, it took the Supreme Court over 30,000 hours to provide relief to January 6th defendants persecuted by the corpse Joe Biden. Oh, that's so mean. You just told you he was sick. He's been out to lunch for way more than 5 years. We knew in 2019 he wasn't there. They hid him in the basement and didn't campaign. No, that was because of COVID. No, it was because nobody liked him. He didn't draw crowds. Nobody in their right mind would believe 81 million totally legitimate votes. And he didn't have the mental acuity to be on the campaign trail. Sniffing kids, touching kids, shaking hands with the air, falling off of bikes, falling up the stairs. The dude's been out to lunch for years and years. 81 million, my ass. Being me, I refuse to be shamed into being nice to Joe Biden about a single thing. That man's health policies pushed to ban monoclonal antibodies, which could have saved my brother's life, pushed to ban hydroxychloroquine, which could have saved my brother's life, and pushed to ban ivermectin because he was in with Fauci pushing this COVID crisis. One size fits all approach. Get remdesivir, get on the ventilator, go into the ground, collect money at each stage of the way. No doctors were allowed to prescribe the Merrick protocol, the ones with vitamin C drips, vitamin C, D, zinc, ivermectin. Biden was responsible for pushing all of that bullshit. I hold him personally responsible, along with Fauci, for the loss of my brother, my only sibling that I spent his entire life with. I am not going to be nice to Joe Biden, who stole America in a coup. Oh, is that too harsh? The social media powers that be would like me to tell you, under duress and threat of censorship, please go find countervailing views on health and elections concerning COVID and the 2020 election, where Joe Biden totally got 81 million completely legitimate votes. Go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control. You know, to countervail my rumors. Joe Biden, who fired you from the military, made it so you couldn't work, so you couldn't go to school, so your life was hell if you didn't take that jab because there was a financial interest involved. Trump left it optional. Biden tried to make it mandatory across the board, all while working with Mayorkas, working with his entire team to open the floodgates to 30 million illegal alien invaders to infiltrate this country and situate themselves as sleeper cells, waiting for God knows when, God knows what sign to activate, waiting to take over city by city and permanently change the demographics of America. No. I might take a deep breath and try to go a little bit out of my way to not be extra vitriolic or angry at Joe Biden. But holy shit, guys, that's going to take everything in my body. Because I don't think I have it in me to be nice. My name is Inigo Montoya, and you took my fucking brother from me. So yeah, Joe Biden, The J6 defendants, the peaceful J6 defendants that walked around a room, took some pictures and left, you threw them into a gulag for years while you demonized Trump. You peddled the fine people hoax, trying to convince the world that he's a Nazi. Never happened. Never said what you repeatedly kept saying President Trump said. He never said it. Chris Wallace on Fox repeated the fine people hoax. Joe Biden, Barack Obama repeated the fine people hoax, stoking the flames on the biggest American racial hoax we've ever lived through. Fuck you, Joe Biden. No, I'm not going to be nice to you. You haven't earned it. I read the diary where your daughter was terrified and had to shower super late at night so you wouldn't creep in and join her in the shower. I watched you crank out Hunter Biden, that degenerate traitor, that money laundering, allegedly traitorous scumbag, running game in Ukraine with your agenda to overthrow Ukraine in 2014 with Obama and with Victoria Nuland to push, and provoke the response that now you throw your hands up and go, oh, it was Russia that provoked World War III. No. It was you, Joe Biden. It was you, Hunter Biden. It was you, Victoria Nuland and Barack Hussein Obama. You guys caused what we're dealing with right now. You guys lied about Trump at every turn. You guys threw these people in jail for 30,000 hours before the Supreme Court would help them. I'm not going to be nice. I don't have niceness in me, especially not today. Sorry, I'm coming in hot. Kenneth, I gotta reclaim my vibes. It's been a long morning, people. And another $800 bill I had to handle. 3 years of my website and the hosting and another $800. Out the door. Awesome. Neither here nor there. You don't think I pay $800 to get my brother back? In a heartbeat. That's what I'm mad about. So no, I'm not going to be nice. Yeah, Kenneth, it's $500 for a year of Restream, $800 for 3 years of the website. $1,300. It's another 100 or something for X so that I can stream on. I'm up to $1,400. Yeah, it's just all so that I can get the privilege of delivering the news to places like YouTube that won't even let my 6,500 subscribers and millions of views get to see my content. So yeah, I got a lot. I've had a lot on the brain today. Anyway, back to the news. Mike Davis. Mike Davis continues from habeas petition to its ruling. The Supreme Court compared to 30,000 hours to provide relief to the peaceful protesters who were saying, you stole my country. I'd like my country back. Remember when they were supposed to debate the 7 fraud states or swing states that paused all their voting long enough to just drag it out and find a couple of extra votes? What are you cooking, Deb from SAC? What are you cooking? What's RV? When RV happens. When I'm living in an RV down by the river? From habeas petition to its ruling, it took the Supreme Court only 24 hours to provide relief to Tren de Aragua foreign terrorists. Make it make sense. Does Mike Davis have anything else? No, it was just that standalone post. Richard Gunnell, here's some good news. Here's some good vibes. Government spending has dropped 5.1% in the first quarter. That's amazing. Every American should celebrate the shrinking of Washington, D.C. spending. That's great, but, we need more. That's all I'll say. Great start, but we need much more reduction in spending. How can we ever pay off this $37 trillion? That's my question. Anthony Sabatini. Let me check let me go back. Anthony Sabatini says, I defended many January 6 protesters in court who faced this same charge of Section 111A1 for doing almost nothing at all. Referring to U.S. Attorney Alina Habba, saying today my office has charged Congresswoman McIver with violation of Title 18 U.S.C. Section 111 for assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. Anthony Sabatini's J6 protesters face this same charge for doing almost nothing at all. The actions that Congressman McIver took was actually an assault. She should receive the full 6 years in prison minimum. And that's a good question. Oh, RV. Does that mean revaluation? Is that because you have dinar? I haven't got any dinar yet, should I? What do you think? Do you agree or disagree with Anthony Sabatini that Congresswoman McIver should receive 8 years in prison? I said 8 years, but I think it's 6 years. Yes, it was fuzzy over there. 6 looks like an 8 when it's fuzzy. I agree. Throw the book at him. I'm so sick of the Republicans being the punching bag for the deep state Democrats. I am absolutely done. And here I am calling once again for the arrests. Where are the damned arrests? Here's the first arrest. Feels like the first arrest we've ever seen from an idiot Democrat. There it is, Alina Habba stating what I just said. Please let the dominoes fall. Here's President Trump talking. Where's he at? He's talking at delivering remarks, Kennedy Center board dinner. Take a listen to President Trump. He's off the chain right now.
And then I said, you know what I'll do? I'll run again and I'll shove it up there. And that's what I did. And all of a sudden, I then realized, I said, you know what? I got the Olympics, I got the World Cup, and I got the 250th. Look at the way this works out. So if they would have left us alone and wouldn't have cheated on the election and wouldn't have rigged it, I would have been retired right now. I would have been happily doing something else. And instead, they have me for 4 more years. Can you believe it? Yeah. So it has. And then I said, you know what I'll do? I'll run again and I'll shove it up there.
That is cool. Getting to have the Olympics, and you got an American Pope. I think President Trump's trying to work in the Pope and get Zelensky and Putin to meet with the Pope to declare a ceasefire. We shall see how that plays out. I don't think Bibi's pretty happy, so beware false flags, say many. I don't know. Yeah, President Trump trying to get big things done, and now he's got the Olympics, the 250th birthday party. The thing that's missing, though, is the indictment tour. These people, Obama, Biden, Clinton, Mayorkas. Where is the justice? Where are the indictments? Got to defend this country. Danielle D'Souza Gill is posting, Canada has dropped their tariffs on U.S. products to nearly 0 in a major win for America per Oxford economists. This is great news. Let me see what X has to say. See what X has to say. Has Canada dropped their tariffs on U.S. products to almost 0? Let's share this tab and see what X has to say. No, Canada has not. Recent reports and posts on X have claimed that Canada's tariffs on U.S. goods have been reduced to nearly 0 due to exemptions, but these claims are misleading or inaccurate based on an available evidence. 25% tariffs. Exceptions do exist. Oxford economists suggesting tariffs due to exemptions, but no primary source from the Canadian government or Oxford economics confirms this. The claims may reflect sentiment or misinterpretation. All right. So I think we can say Grok has determined that this claim is not verified and potentially fake news. We shouldn't be sharing this without primary source links that confirm a reduction in tariffs to nearly 0. Let's do better. That's what I said. Trying to correct. Okay, I guess you can see it this way. That's better. Yeah, because I need to set up a second screen because I can't see the first screen, so I never know when it's out of. I mean, I sort of know. All right, let's talk about the budget. Thomas Massey is saying that much of the ridiculous spending Doge found was not an oversight by Republicans. It was intentional. At State of the Union, POTUS listed ridiculous appropriations to cut, and the Republicans who had funded it cheered. It's no surprise Congress did a continuing resolution to fund it all again. Welp. This right here from Wall Street Citizen claiming the DHS has conducted the first deportation flight for illegals who opted to self-deport through their Project Homecoming program. Any volume? Participants received travel and financial assistance as well as preserving the possibility to return to the U.S. legally in the future. I guess there is sound. I can't hear the sound. Is my volume turned down? Okay, because I don't want generic sound to take this video down. Anyway, Wall Street Citizen putting this out. These are... I don't know why people are wearing masks. Like, what are they even doing? They came in without a mask. Why are they leaving with the mask? What is with the masks? Anyway, it appears as though people are self-deporting. Let me ask Grok. Have CBP home deportations started? Yes. DHS launched the app with the self-deport feature March 10. May 19th, DHS, all right, that's yesterday, conducted its first Project Homecoming charter flight. 64 individuals voluntarily self-deporting to Honduras and Colombia using the CBP Home app. Offers financial assistance, $1,000 stipend upon confirmed departure, with the program promoted as a safer and more cost-effective alternative to forced deportation. That's a good idea. Bravo, President Trump. This is the way. There they go. Awesome. Here's President Trump talking about the cover-up of Joe Biden. This is... heads need to roll figuratively, politically, legally. People need to be indicted for stealing America. Former Vice President Joe Biden was not in charge of America.
Surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time. I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. The AutoPen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the AutoPen. You have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed, and I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor. This is no longer politically correct. This is dangerous for our country. A doctor was involved in each case. Maybe it was the same doctor, and somebody is not telling the facts. I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time. I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. The AutoPen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president.
Got it. Trump referring to Biden's Gleason score of 9. Who will be indicted for treason while illegally running America while Biden sniffed kids Showered with his daughter. Allegedly showered with his daughter. Soiled his pants and ate ice cream. This is an astonishing revelation that we all knew, and only now are the Democrats hearing the truth. Is that too mean? I don't care. I don't have a nice bone in my body. I don't have anything nice in me for Joe Biden. I'm letting it rip. You want to judge me for being mean? Judge me for being mean. I don't care. Yes, dinar. Okay, good. Dinar. Have a fancy dinar if it revalues. Gonna tariff China a new one. When Thomas eats dairy on his farm, Thomas can get gassy. Joe Biden, Joe Bipen, Joe Autopen, yeah. Joey Manarino says if Biden was truly mentally incapacitated the whole time, how much can actually be reversed? Obviously, the federal court appointments and Ketanji on the Supreme Court are a good place to start, and the pardons. Can we get rid of the Build Back Better Act and the infrastructure law, the CHIPS Act? How much of the presidency can legally be reversed due to incapacitation? Reverse it all button. Yeah, reverse it all. Doggone it. I got to shift it. There you go. Now you can see it. Matt Walsh says, this is the most cynical thing I've ever seen in American politics. It's astounding. Truly. Biden has stage 4 cancer. There's no way in hell they just caught it now. They knew it probably for years and lied to the American people. And then they waited until 2 days before a book comes out about the cover-up of his mental decline so that they could change the subject and quiet all criticism in the name of compassion for a sick man. Aww. We should be compassionate to the guy that stole America in a coup and flooded it with 30 million illegal alien invaders, destroyed what we had in Afghanistan, leading to American service members' deaths, ran up the most ridiculous spending debt you've ever seen, all while pushing a nuclear World War III with Russia in a proxy war through Ukraine that he helped overthrow in 2014 with Victoria Nuland, Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, that guy. Oh, the one that repeated the fine people hoax and tried to have Trump thrown in jail. Pushed, collaborated with. Yeah, they were meeting in the White House. Yeah, it was a political hit job. Yeah, we should be nice to that guy? Not doing it. I made baby Joe cry. Won't somebody think of the children? Be nice to Joe Biden. Be nice to him. Nope, I'm not going to. Nope. Won't be nice to Biden button. Here's an interesting story from Kagan Dunlap. Retired 4-star Navy Admiral Robert P. Burke, age 63, has been found guilty on federal charges, including bribery, conspiracy to commit bribery, acts affecting a personal financial interest, and concealment of material facts. The conviction stems from a scheme where Burke, while serving as a 4-star admiral in 2021, awarded a $355,000 sole source contract to a New York-based company, Next Jump, for workforce training in Italy and Spain. In exchange, he secured a post-retirement job with Next Jump, starting in October 22, with a $500,000 annual salary and $100,000 stock options. Burke, who retired in August of 22, is commander of U.S. naval forces in Europe and Africa, was the Navy's former vice chief of naval operations from 19 to 20, chief of naval personnel 16 to 19. The bribery scheme involved Burke allegedly steering contracts to Next Jump's co-CEO, Yong Chol Charlie Kim, and Megan Messenger, who were also charged. Burke was also accused of lying to the Navy about his role in the contract and the timing of employment discussions to conceal the scheme. Burke faces up to 30 years in prison, though first-time offenders typically receive lighter penalties. This case marks him as the highest-ranking U.S. military officer convicted of a crime. Are the indictments finally starting to flow from the MAGA DOJ? That's my thought. That's wild. Wrongly accused. President Trump's education department rescinds Joe Biden's $37 million fine on a Christian university. DOE rescinded massive fine against Grand Canyon University, the biggest Christian university in the nation, that was applied under former President Biden's administration in 23. $37.7 million fine, largest ever proposed against a university, was revoked on Friday, the Daily Caller reported on Monday. The outlet said the initial fine sparked allegations that the Biden administration was targeting and harshly punishing Christian universities. Yeah, and Christian people and Christian ideology. Basically everything Christian, Biden and his Obama puppet masters hated. Yeah, I said it, and I believe it, and I know it to be true because I've lived it and I've covered it week after week, year after year. They despise Christians and Christianity. They hate you. The dismissal of the suit and revoking of the fine occurred under the Trump administration. The case dismissed with prejudice, meaning the suit cannot be brought a second time. Cleared of any wrongdoing. All right, well, that sounds good. Blair Cottrell asks, why invade a country when you can just buy its institutions, turn its women against its men, make transvestites of its children, sell the wealth generated by its labor to foreign investors, then introduce a foreign army as refugees and diversity to finish off the nation? Doesn't that sound like a mighty fine plan? Sure feels like what we're emerging from, don't it? Well, it does to me. It does to me. That guy's a son of a tree. Treason. Let's check out Joe Rogan talking with Vice President J.D. Vance. Wild boy. What's this?
Boy, imagine
Elon is funny as shit, man. He's
funny as shit.
Yeah,
Getting
he
dumped
really
on
is.
by that guy's got to suck because you can't even say he's a dumbass.
Right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah.
AOC is tried, and that backfires gloriously. It backfires gloriously when AOC is like, he didn't do anything. The equivalent of like Obama. You didn't build that. It's the government that built that. You didn't build that. So, yeah.
By that guy's got to suck because you can't even say he's a dumbass.
Right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah. You can say many things. You can't say he's a dumbass.
You get dunked on by one of the smartest guys alive. Boy.
And Elon's sense of humor is nice. If it's not actually AI doing it, and if it's really just Elon, dude is really funny. I want to know what happened to Dan Bongino, and I want to know now. So does Luke Radowski here. Luke Radowski, who you saw in the intro for the Agree to Disagree show that I played. Thank you, Blake Wally, for putting that together. I reworked it to just kind of show some of the videos from that original intro that Blake and I did. I reworked it to work in this scenario. Thank you, sir. What happened to Dan Bongino? This was him then. Why is he the way that he is now? What has changed? And like Glenn Beck said, okay, you're claiming you have information. Show us. Tell us. What do we see? How did this guy break his neck in a way that the medical professional said you can't do this by hanging? By the way, you can't hang yourself in one of those suicide watch rooms. By the way, you have guards watching. Oh, they weren't watching? Oh, that's suspicious. Don't worry, we had video cameras. Oh, the video cameras weren't working. Stop it. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Don't do it. Do not do it. It couldn't have happened. If he's in witness protection right now and they got him out of prison because they were going to take him out, okay, I can understand it. Maybe I understand why you're lying to us about it. But I don't like being lied to. The other option is that President Trump was guilty as shit. Remember? This happened under Bill Barr and Donald Trump. So was he silenced, taken out by Trump because he was guilty and they had to take that stuff away, delete the evidence? I figure if that was the case, we would have had that leaked by now. Too many deep state people just have a hard on to get rid of Trump for some reason. It's like they're absolutely against ever having a functional government that can succeed and make this country strong again. They said, sir, it's raining. I said, someone's whizzing on my leg. A lot of people want to whiz. I think they do it all the time, especially from the lying media. Fake news, people, fake news. Here's Dan Bongino getting new stripes.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal.
Is it?
Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there.
May have. That was the whole point. It was Mossad, right? I mean, are there some people that aren't saying this Epstein was an op? A joint Mossad CIA op? I mean, is that not known? May have had video. That was the point. It was to get people in compromising positions and then dangle it over their head like the sword of Damocles. Aha, do as I say or else I'm going to embarrass you. And by the way, I don't know how much that would have even worked because it's like once they embarrass one person, they expose themselves. And then the whole operation gets shut down. So something's always been off about the operation. But that was the claim.
Doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. You want me to I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on it, Danny B. I've lost faith in you. Yes, the 4-year Biden con job has been exposed. And dominoes are falling on the deep state. Let's listen to Senator Tim Burchett talking about U.S. politicians who are being paid off to not vet U.S. taxpayer money that's being sent overseas.
Loopholes. How did terrorists exploit our foreign aid loopholes?
Well, we have a lot of our international...
Can you pull your mic up? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You have international NGOs and UN agencies actively lobby here in Washington, D.C. against vetting policies that would prevent it. I was the senior vetting officer at USAID, and what we did.
Did you say United Nations is doing this? The UN?
Sure, everybody who's getting money lobbies here.
That they're lobbying against us. I'm sorry, Mr. Roman.
There's actually someone who used to work for one of those lobbies, the largest NGO lobby, Interaction. One of our co-witnesses here worked for them from 2018 to 2023. USAID effectively self-funds its own external private lobby that then goes back to Congress and asks for more money for USAID.
So the taxpayers fund this lobbyist who's working against American interests.
Correct.
Possibly killing our allies and possibly Americans.
They bring together groups in Washington that overseas work with groups that kill Americans.
Yeah, I don't need a flow chart to show that. I appreciate it. Do you think USAID programs have been aligned with the national security interests of the U.S.?
No, they have not. They have actually helped China.
Mr. Roman?
No.
Okay. How do these programs compromise our national security, Mr. Premack?
They actually push China. They actually push much of the world towards China on the green energy agenda. They push people, ordinary people, billions of people towards China because of the resentment caused by our social reengineering.
Are we being lobbied by these pro-communist China groups currently?
Well, a lot of these countries don't even have to lobby because they get the money anyway, like South Africa.
Yeah, and in fact, these lobbyists have come to the House and have tried to kill legislation like H.R. 160, which was meant to increase transparency in USAID's funding of overseas organizations.
Is that a current piece of legislation?
That's from the last session.
And give me that number again.
H.R. 160.
And what does it do?
It was meant to give U.S. lawmakers the ability to have higher transparency in terror financing investigations aimed at scrutinizing extremist groups.
Mr. Premack?
We had a regulation before we left in the last administration that anybody who touches money in countries where there's terrorists, those names have to go through databases, terrorist databases. That was overturned by Biden.
Overturned by Biden.
Yep, overturned by Biden. And was it by Biden or was it just the people running the country pretending that Joe Biden was running the country? This is such a mess.
As if on cue.
Here's Megyn Kelly discussing these new revelations.
We get this from top Democrat strategist David Axelrod.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think those conversations are going to happen, but they should be more muted and set aside for now as he's struggling through this.
We reject your suggestion. And that will not be happening on this program. We will be taking a full, robust, deep dive into everything that's revealed in that book. No detail will be spared, David Axelrod, because of this diagnosis. You are hashtag part of the problem. The same media that covered up the Joe Biden mental infirmity is now going to try to use this diagnosis as an excuse to cover up the discussion about the cover-up. It's a no. As if on cue, we get this from top Democrat.
All right. It's a no. It's a no. Here's Adam Carolla talking about the state of affairs for this pathetic Democrat Party. Talking with Jesse Waters.
Bruce
and the people who are defending the Democrats. Like the only people that seem to be defending Democrats are these washed up rockers and washed up actors.
And Trump, who's winning this so far?
Well, here's a little experiment. Remember 20 years ago, you think about Bruce Springsteen and you think about Robert De Niro and you're like, I don't know what those guys are thinking, but they're geniuses. I never hear them do interviews. I have no idea what their intellect is, but they have to be geniuses. And then they both started sharing their opinions in like the last 20 minutes. And now we know they're buffoons and fools. It's sad what they did to their legacy. Like Bruce Springsteen is an idiot, and so is De Niro. Trump is going to win this one because Trump's like herpes. He just never goes away. He never sleeps, and he always wins.
I mean, he's up at 1:30 calling the boss a shriveled up old prune.
He never loses. He's like rust. He never sleeps.
Now, Tim Walz, he should not be calling ICE agents Nazis. Most politicians, that just ends your career. I don't know about tampon, though.
Remember when you used to go to commencement address and they'd play The Carpenters, We've Only Just Begun, and Richard Simmons would give everyone a pep talk? Can you imagine some poor kid who's like, well, after I graduate from Minnesota, my parents got me surprise tickets to a Bruce Springsteen concert. Like, you can't go anywhere without blowhards lecturing at you. But let me just bring this up. Remember COVID? Remember all the people who told you you were going to die of COVID? None of them died of COVID. All of the people that tell you you're going to be scooped up, you're going to be thrown in a gulag, put in unmarked vans, none of them will get scooped up. The same people that told you COVID was a killer are all alive, and the same people that never stopped talking about gulags will never end up in one. So you do the math.
Yeah.
So there you go. Chris Martinson here regarding the Epstein story. He says, my PhD in pathology is in Let me start over. My PhD is in pathology toxicology. I performed autopsies. I know enough about anatomy to know that a slump hanging is not going to fracture the hyoid bone into 3 pieces. Epstein did not kill himself. He was strangled by a strong man. This indicates we have a huge problem. Is this just a picture? It's not the actual video. Well, I think I'll scroll and find it. But Cash, they have a right to their opinion, but you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what this was. Bongino, he killed himself. I've seen the whole file. He killed himself. Okay, well, show us what you've seen, because I'm not buying it. All right, Dom Luker, breaker of narratives. This is shared by Cat Turd. The claim is that it was revealed in the Diddy freak-off trial that former President Obama used to meet with the man that used to pick up drugs for Diddy, and confirms that he met with Obama and other former presidents. The hole just got deeper than we ever imagined. I'm seeing this for the first time. Let's take a look. There's music. Gotta mute it. AUSA, Slavic. He met with a lot of people. David James, yes, even former presidents. AUSA, which one? David James, former President Obama. AUSA, what was your understanding would have happened if you hadn't done these things? Combs Agnifilio. Objection sustained. Okay. There's more. AUSA Slavic, did you ever pick up drugs for Mr. Combs? David James, yes. Percocets at a pharmacy, sometimes in my name. AUSA, did you give him permission to use your name? David James, I don't recall that. AUSA, was there a drug dealer? David James, yes. One stop. Okay. So now they've worked Obama in. Can the dominoes please fall on Obama? Here's a Swedish father telling you how great things are in Europe. Here's a TLDR. They are not great in Europe.
Nej, men alltså min son har blivit rånad.
Oh, I gotta. Yeah, okay. He says, well, my son has been robbed 3 times. Twice by Somalis and once by Arabs. He's 19 years old. He's marked for life. Let me turn this down a little bit. This is what Biden did, imported people from every part unknown into America. This guy says he's marked for life. He doesn't dare go out alone. There were no problems in Gothenburg when I was his age. Today it's horrible. If I had a daughter, I would follow her around with a loaded shotgun. It's absurd. This immigration is ruthless to the Swedish people. They've betrayed our country. Yep. The Obama doctrine was a forced colonization of every sovereign nation. to overthrow you, to put people on permanent handouts so that they'd vote Democrat or deep state forever. And you would become a minority in your country, your own country. You'd be driven out of your country in an invasion. This is what Obama's been up to. This is what the deep state has been up to. They've betrayed their countries. I was born in the 60s. I know what it was like growing up in the 70s and 80s. I see today it's unbelievable. My old suburbs, Hisingen, Engrid, they're off limits now. It's unbelievable. I can't find words to express my disgust with this government. Here's a longer form of President Trump. Where is this? These are all just the quotes, but it's not saying exactly where it was. But here's President Trump speaking. We did this earlier, but here's the longer version.
And we got the Olympics, and then we got through Johnny, who's the boss. He's a friend of mine, and we got the World Cup. I got them both, and I said, man, I won't be president. I won't be. I got the Olympics and the World Cup, and I won't be president. And they're going to forget that I got them. Nobody's going to mention it because, you know, a little bit, that's the way life is. And then they rigged the election. And then I said, you know what I'll do? I'll run again, and I'll shove it up their ass. And that's what I did. And all of a sudden, I then realized, I said, you know what? I got the Olympics, I got the World Cup, and I got the 250th. Look at the way this works out. So if they would have left us alone and wouldn't have cheated on the election and wouldn't have rigged it, I would have been retired right now. I would have been happily doing something else. And instead, they have me for 4 more years. Can you believe it? Yeah. So it has it.
I love it. I love it. All right. Green Lives Matter. Here's Joe Biden 3 different times, 20, 22, and 24. Let's take a listen to this lying scumbag.
I guarantee you, I will be totally transparent in terms of my health and all aspects of my health.
Lies.
And so I guarantee you, I will be totally transparent in terms of my health and all aspects of my health. And when it comes to Donald Trump versus me, just look at us, okay? That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. I've laid every bit of the record out. Hadn't hidden a thing. You ought to ask Trump for his, okay? I laid it all out.
I mean, this is stunning, side by side by side. Share this far and wide. Charlie Kirk shared this. This is Laura Trump. Charlie says, imagine the arrogance of Joe Biden's wife and handlers believing they could hide the unhideable. Why did they even try the cover-up? Because they knew the legacy media would go along with it. That's why. Shame on them, especially Jake Tapper, the biggest liar of them all.
You made this comment earlier in the campaign about Joe Biden. Let's take a listen to that.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
What an asshole. Stutter. There's no damn stutter. And everybody knows it. Jake Tapper knows it right there. What an asshole. Just this whole setup, followed by that, this guy can go pound.
You made this comment earlier in the campaign about Joe Biden. Let's take a listen to that.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no. I can't. That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no.
What a vile piece of garbage, this Jake Tapper.
What I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
We can all see with our own lying eyes and lying ears, Jake Tapper. Oh, you don't hate the lying legacy media enough.
Think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
Diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked about a cognitive decline.
You don't hate these people enough. Bostonians against Mayor Wu put this out. So here is a U.S. citizen from Medford, Massachusetts, who was wrongly detained by ICE. Let's take a watch. What happens here?
Despite being detained, the 31-year-old says he still supports the work being done by ICE agents.
I showed them my ID, my passport, and my picture, and they confirmed that it was not me. They're doing their job. I still support what they're doing. Unfortunately, they called the wrong person, but I still support whatever they're doing. And I voted for Trump, and there are a lot of bad people in this country, to be honest with you, that they don't deserve to be here.
Despite.
Check that out. Tim Pool says this is due process and it was handled appropriately. You can be detained to investigate crime, and he was released shortly after and still supports the work. And Wokeness says the media pretended that this was normal. There's nothing normal about this.
She talked about the fact that sometimes the White House, in her words, surprises you. And for somebody who has worked on women's health issues for her whole career, frankly, as a teacher, but also as the second lady and now as the first lady, she said one of the things that struck her the most was the inequities in medical research, funding for medical research for women. So this is an important priority of hers that she had the opportunity to at this cabinet meeting to spotlight. And as you had that great interview with her, Peter, talking about the fact that, yes, a burden may have been lifted from her husband's shoulder in one respect with the end of his campaign, but there's still a lot of work that they both intend to do during their last few months in office here. She talked about the
one of the people pushing all of this stuff. Jill Biden. Oh, yeah. Because of YouTube, I can't even play this. Russell Brand announced that he's diving into the top of Dominoes Gate. I'm sorry, Pizza Hut Gate. I'm sorry, Little Caesars Gate. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. He's now been emboldened after Trump shared a video referencing the Clinton body count. He's calling for the public for input and support, eager to hear what people think. With a combined audience of tens of millions across social platforms, Brand says the conversation is just getting started.
Very blatant.
Oh no, that's the bit where she's saying about talking about having babies. We'll get back to that in a moment. This is what I'm going to draw your attention to. Let me know as well in the chat. Do you want to see us do more stuff like this? Because we're going to have a little break next week, and when we come back, I want to talk about stuff like Pete and, for example, the Clinton suicides, but see if we can approach it from a sensible, non-hysterical perspective. I saw a documentary on X that continues.
Yeah, good luck with that, Russell Brand. That's what got Ben Swann fired. Trying to discuss it from a reasonable perspective. What can we debunk? What can we confirm? Yeah, that got Ben Swann fired from, what was he, Fox Atlanta, maybe? Was it Fox Atlanta? He covered the Papa John's Gate. What are some other famous brands? Deep Dish Gate.
Continually gets deleted. Hello, Russell, you crazy wanker. Hello, Rugdo. Join Rugdo in the Rumble chat wherever you're watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube.
Anyway, so we'll keep our eyes peeled on Russell Brand. Donald Trump, President Trump, has thoughts on the auto pen and Joe Biden, and perhaps the day of reckoning is coming and the dominoes have begun falling.
Do you want to respond to President Biden being diagnosed with cancer? Are you going to call your predecessor?
I think it's very sad, actually. I'm surprised that it wasn't the public wasn't notified a long time ago, is to get to stage 9. That's a long time. I just had my physical.
In stage 9, I think it's stage 4, but it's a 9 ranking on the cancer ranking. So he's saying stage 9, that might not technically be accurate. And maybe the drive-by media is going to hang their hat on that. But it's like stage 4 with a rating level of 9, whatever the rating level is.
You saw that. You saw the results of that particular test. I think that test is standard to pretty much anybody getting a physical, good physical. We had the doctors at the White House and over at Walter Reed, which is a fantastic hospital. I did a very complete physical, including cognitive tests. I'm proud to announce I aced it. Got them all. I got them all right. You proud of me? Yes. Your husband would be proud of you for getting them all right. It's a little risk. If I didn't get them all right, these people would be after me. It would be not a good situation. But I think, frankly, anybody running for president should take a cognitive test. They say it's unconstitutional, but I would say in that particular case, having a cognitive test wouldn't be so bad. But when you take tests, medical, as a male, that test is very standard. I don't know if it's given to everybody, but it's given just about. And it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think to get to a stage 9, I think.
Okay, he keeps saying stage 9, and I'm looking on Grok here. And they're saying that it's stage 4 prostate cancer. New York Times, Reuters said that. They confirm it metastasized to the bones, but don't provide details on the Gleason score, which ranges from 6 to 10 and measures cancer aggressiveness. Score of 9 would indicate highly aggressive, consistent with stage 4, but there's no direct evidence tying Biden's case to this score. But I keep looking up and seeing Gleason score of 9. And I think that's what President Trump keeps referencing here. So just if you wonder about 4 and 9, it's a Gleason score. And at least according to Grok, that's not confirmed, but it's been reported. So that's what the president is continually referencing with the 9.
That if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there. That's being proven to be a sad situation. And the auto pen is becoming a very big deal. The auto pen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the auto pen. But when they say that that was not good, they also, you have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed. And I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor. If it's the same, or even if it's 2 separate doctors, why wasn't the cognitive ability, why wasn't that discussed?
No. There is simply no universe. There is simply no universe where former Vice President Biden, David saying, I think he's probably already gone. Oh, Kenneth, that score of 9. I'm not going to repeat that. I'm going to try not to be mean. I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to try not to be mean. Right, bud. Mr. Ben's coming in to say hi. He heard me getting all fired up, didn't he? Well, yeah, Pete. There's no universe where we can accept that Joe Biden was not receiving top-notch health care all the time. Meaning, if there's something this aggressive, this late for him, they knew about it. Everybody knew about it, and they were lying to us each and every day, just like they lied saying Joe Biden was president. Oh, he assumed the position. For countervailing views on health and elections, go to cdc.gov, who.int, and visit cisa.gov/rumor control, because they will tell you Joe Biden's totally fine and his health is totally fine. I mean, only now do we just learn something. And by the way, he totally received 81 million totally legitimate votes, and he is the rightful winner of the 2020 election. Those are the countervailing views you're supposed to know. Sure. They all knew. And this is advanced. This has been going on for a long time. We've watched it with our own eyes. We've seen it with our ears. Give me a break. Why didn't they issue the cognitive test? And if they didn't, it's because they knew he wouldn't pass it. And if they knew he wouldn't pass it, who was running our country? And how can you indict that person for treason?
And
Falsely assuming the roles and responsibilities of the President of the United States.
I think the doctor said he's just fine, and it's turned out that's not so. It's very dangerous. Look, this is no longer politically correct. This is dangerous for our country. Look at the mess when you're talking about all these questions on Ukraine and Russia. That would have never happened. As an example of our president, would have never happened. The other thing is you have to say, why did it take so long? I mean, when you, this takes a long time. It can take years to get to this level of danger. So it's a very, very sad situation. And I feel very badly about it. And I think people should try and find out what happened, because I'll tell you, I don't know if it had anything to do with the hospital. Walter Reed is really good. They're some of the best doctors I've ever seen. I don't even know if they were involved, but a doctor was involved in each case. Maybe it was the same doctor, and somebody is not telling the facts. It's a big problem.
Yep, we didn't get the facts. Here's Pete Hegseth talking about something interesting. Nick Sorter reporting there will be an announcement, Hegseth says, as soon as tomorrow, about the findings about Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan, where we gave all of our blood and treasure to the bad guys intentionally.
I've asked viewers things they want to know from the Secretary of Defense.
And by the way, I'm adding intentionally, but it feels fairly obvious this is intentional. Any dummy would have known this would have resulted in withdrawing in the manner that they did, leaving all of that weaponry, those buildings and everything else behind, all the craft. It was done intentionally to arm the bad guys. Shocking. That's what Barack Hussein Obama was reportedly doing for all those years with ISIS that he and McCain created, allegedly. And that when the generals, his war commanders, were saying, all right, here's what we're going to do to stop them, Obama would jump in and change his plans to make sure that ISIS would be strong and survive. Because I was going to call him Osama. Barack Hussein Osama. I'm mixing together. Obama was going out of his way to make sure that ISIS was strong and that chaos reigned wherever he went. Afghanistan always felt intentional to me. So anyway, here's Pete Hegseth. Yeah, I'm saying it's intentional. I'm not saying it was an accident. What difference at this point does it make? Oh, it makes a big difference.
I've asked viewers things they want to know from the Secretary of Defense. So first of all, here's one of the things people want to know. They want to know about Afghanistan, the disastrous withdrawal, and they want to know when there will be some measure of accountability.
Great question. We're all over it in our office. In fact, we'll have an announcement, I believe, tomorrow. If not later today, tomorrow or Wednesday, on the developments of our task force. We're moving, we're finding, we're investigating. It's going to take a little bit of time, because there's a lot of things that need to be uncovered, classified aspects. We need to interviews that need to be conducted, but we've found the right people to be involved. One of which actually is Stu Scheller, who's on our staff. He was the one guy fired for telling the truth about what happened in Afghanistan. He's now working in the Pentagon. That task force will be led by Sean Parnell, who's our Pentagon spokesman, great guy at the heart of it. So more to come on that, but it may take into 2026, if I'm being honest about it, to really uncover everything, but there will be accountability. We're committed to it. We will not leave a single stone unturned.
Speaking of a date in the future, the Pentagon has missed something like 7.
We shall see. Everything's going to take a long time. An Obama judge ruled that Trump cannot shut down CIA front agency in D.C. Judge Beryl Howell ruled that the United States Institute of Peace board members, Hegseth, Rubio, Garvin, had no right to dismiss the remaining board members and the acting president. Trump's team found stockpiles of weapons and cash in USIP headquarters as USIP officials attempted to delete terabytes of evidence from the agency's servers. I'm sorry, what? How about indict this judge? They're deleting evidence. They're hiding stuff. They got stockpiles of cash and weapons. Shut it the hell down. Clay Travis here saying the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark controversy is insane. Watch the play. Reese clearly fouls the other chick, pushing her in the back with both hands to get the rebound. Clark points to it, and when the call isn't made, she fouls to stop the open layup. And this Angel Reese gets up all angry. Most jealous person on earth. Really untalented lady. Really angry, bitter. Got a hatred toward Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, the only person keeping this struggling league of lady basketballers around. Wide Awake Media says, remember when Anthony Fauci and Obama guilt-tripped children into taking the mRNA injections by convincing them that they were endangering who?
Hi, everybody. Good to see you guys.
Hey.
What's going on? My name's Barack. What's your name? Jerry. Dr. Fauci, he's very important.
My name's Barack. What's your name?
He helps to run all the...
Yeah, huh? What does he do exactly?
Jerry. Dr. Fauci, he's very important. He helps to... run all the... stuff to keep people healthy. You know, do you guys know why we are getting these shots?
What do you think? Be protected from the COVID?
That's exactly right.
There's music.
What is the vaccine made of?
Ah, that's a question.
What is the vaccine made of?
But the vaccine takes a part of the virus that can't hurt you, a little nub that's on the virus is like this. There's a little thing that sticks out here. It's called a spike. So you take this spike, you put it in the vaccine, you give it to you, and your body thinks it's the virus, but it isn't. It's just a part of the virus. So your body makes a really, really good response against it. So that when the real virus comes along, your body's ready to just knock it out.
That music would get us banned on YouTube.
The older you get, when you get COVID, the more dangerous it is.
Like an old guy like me, you guys are protecting me by not getting infected.
Exactly right.
You're protecting me. You really are.
Crimes against humanity. Laura Logan shares this. Oh my God, these two people. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, while I'm still on this earth, please let me see that Fauci and Obama have to face justice for what they've done, their demonic acts to harm humanity. Amen. These two people. President Trump reacts to charges being brought against House Democrat LaMonica. Never heard of a LaMonica. I've known a harmonica. McIver. President Trump.
Oh, give me a break. Did you see her? She was out of control. Did you those days are over. The days of woke. The days of woke. No, I didn't. The days of woke are over. That woman, I have no idea who she is. That woman was out of control. She was shoving federal agents. She was out of control. The days of that crap are over in this country. We're going to have law and order. Oh, give me a break. Did you?
Law and order. Give me a break. Scott Jennings on CNN talking about the cover-up of Biden.
Actually, are you arguing that Joe Biden was fine during his...
I'm not arguing that he was fine. I'm arguing that...
You keep pivoting back to Trump, who's clearly fine. I'm just asking you if you're arguing that something was not wrong with Joe Biden.
I'm so glad you asked that question. Because Joe Biden is no longer the president.
But he was, and that's the story tonight.
Well, no, actually, Donald, stop. Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish something. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. I would dearly love to see a cognitive test from him, because as somebody who's lived in the New York media market for the last 40 years, I can tell you that the Donald Trump that I knew in the 80s is not the Donald Trump that I hear today.
So your answer to the cover-up is Trump.
My answer is...
Your answer to every question is Trump.
My answer is...
The cover-up is the story tonight.
The president...
That's the story.
Yes, the cover-up is also the president of the United States, who happens to be Donald J.
No, that's not the subject at all.
Trump today is not. Yeah, you could laugh all you want.
I am definitely laughing.
You know why you're laughing? Because you
You're
don't
laughing.
want to.
We're gonna.
We are laughing.
No, we're not laughing. You don't want to answer the question, Scott.
Yeah.
You're president.
What question?
Julie, we're
What
going to leave it
question?
there.
I'd love to see his cognitive test. I'd love to see
I'm
his
sure he'd
physical
be
test.
Dr.
I'm sure he
Grasso.
would, right.
CNN is so goofy. Scott Jennings, the only redeemable thing about that network. Everybody knew. Here's Tucker Carlson.
I know them. His sister complained.
Joe Biden.
Val complained, as a fact, in 2019 that he should not be running for president because he's got cognitive Parkinson's or whatever. He had a cognitive decline, and it's mean. And Jill was pushing it, and Jill was saying he needs to do this to work out his grief from Beau's death. So I know them.
Yeah. So weird. Clandestine says it's now clear what the Dems and mainstream media plan was with the whole Biden thing. They did a let me see. Can you see this? Let me shift it to... I'll just go like that. They're very evil individuals indeed, David Bann. They did a Friday night news dump on the Biden-Her tapes. And then before we even get to Monday, they released news that Biden has cancer and beg us to not be mean to Biden during this time. Did Biden play a role in the Trump assassination? Did Biden play a role in jailing peaceful J6ers? Did Biden play a role in overthrowing America in 2020? Did Biden play a role in banning potentially life-saving therapeutic options during COVID? Did Biden play a role in arming the bad guys and killing Americans in the Afghanistan withdrawal? Did Biden open up the floodgates so our nation could be invaded from parts unknown? Did Biden sniff kids, shower with his daughter, money launder, steal, have documents in stacks in his garage, classified stuff he should have never had from back when he was in Congress? What didn't Joe Biden do? Tell me where Joe Biden deserves any respect. Anywhere. Anywhere. Show me anywhere Joe Biden deserves our respect. Anywhere. They're trying to use Biden's cancer as a shield to avoid public backlash and scrutiny for the massive conspiracy to cover up Biden's obvious decline. The timing of these events suggests they're trying to bury the Biden-Her tapes in the news cycle. They're being dishonest about being dishonest. Give them no quarter. These people have no honor whatsoever. Don't allow them to weasel their way into garnering your sympathy. Fuck these people. They committed treason. So, regarding Clandestine's post there, do you agree or do you disagree? Give no quarter. None. Elon Musk calling out Bill Gates in his Epstein ties.
I do want to ask you about US aid and the comments that Bill Gates made the other day, and I know that you called him...
Yeah, he's a huge liar.
I know, you've said that already. I wondered...
Also,
and I'm just...
Who does Bill Gates think he is to make comments about the welfare of children, given that he frequented Jeffrey Epstein?
Okay, well, he said he regrets those, and he spent a lot.
Oh, he regrets those, does he? Oh, he regrets banging all those children, those slaves. Oh,
to Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, well, he said he regrets those, and he spent a lot of his.
He said, I wouldn't trust him to babysit my kids.
Own money on philanthropy around the world over the years. My question to you is, have you looked...
Philanthropy is a very interesting phrase.
...at the data to check if...
Philanthropy is a shield.
He might be right that the cuts to USAID might cost millions of lives.
Yes. I'd like him to show us any evidence whatsoever that is.
I do.
And he doesn't have any evidence. Wouldn't want that guy to babysit my kid. Hey, here's Lucky Larry, luckiest man in America. When Luke Radowski asked him on 5 separate occasions about this, he got really upset with me for some reason. Here's Larry Silverstein, owner of the World Trade Center. Wow, how lucky Larry just happened to be absent from the towers because of a doctor's appointment on 9/11 that he later claimed was canceled. Rather than returning to the top of the tower for his usual breakfast, he decided to walk around New York City. Larry's entire family was also absent that day and escaped harm, including his daughter and son, who was running late. Lucky Larry was also fortunate enough to have taken out a $3.5 billion insurance policy only weeks before the attacks in July of 2001, and then tried to claim that amount twice after the 2 attacks. This guy must be good at gambling too, says Luke Radowski. Luckiest man in America. Lucky Larry, a.k.a. Larry Silverstein. Steen. What about Tower 7? Who had Tower 7? Elon, in the same interview, says we're coming for those who organize the violence and death threats against Tesla. Remember this statement. So we'll see. Save the West says, fuck Joe Biden. Biden was a pedophile who sniffed children and raped his own daughter. He allowed human trafficking into our country and lost. Allegedly. By the way, allegedly, yeah. Allegedly. The plums on her. The plums. We said that the quote from Ashley Biden's diary, pages 67 and 68, allegedly, or I so afraid of him coming in the shower with me that I've waited until late at night to take a shower. Afraid of your dad joining you in the shower. We said Biden also oversaw the medical industrial complex banning potentially life-saving medicines like monoclonal antibodies, hydroxychloroquine, and ivermectin, which stole countless lives from us, all while restricting travel and work unless we took a jab, then flooded 30 million illegals in without a jab. Hey, take a look. I don't know if I've ever played this for you before, but I found this. This was about a year ago at the Trump rally. I guess 3 days from a year ago, flashback to when I was out there reporting for Real America's Voice. Here, check this out. On with Jack Posobiec. I know that guy. How fun is that?
The energy here is exciting. You hear people.
This is in the Bronx. President Trump came, and this was in May. He was shot in July 13th. So this was, what was it, 23rd? About a month and a half later, Trump was shot because he was going into places like the Bronx, and it's obvious this dude was winning in a landslide, so they had to shoot him.
The energy here is exciting. You hear people yelling behind. They were just chanting USA. You have people performing music. The energy is off the charts. This is not a traditional area that Republicans have bothered to communicate with. But after seeing the past 3.5 years, people are ready for a change. I spoke with a woman that said one of her elderly friends was cracked in the head and severely injured on a subway. That's just unacceptable to be abusing elderly women in a great city like this. The great American cities are really struggling right now under the weight of what Biden's done at the border, and it's palpable. The people have seen the past 3.5 years, and they are ready for a change. That's for sure. The energy.
So that was kind of fun, in case you guys didn't see that before. Yeah, the Epstein story with Bongino and Patel, I'm not buying it. Go vote in the poll on X. Do you believe Cash and Bongino saying that Epstein offed himself? Agree or disagree? Let's talk about the big, beautiful bill. Is this about the big, beautiful bill? Brian Cates is saying, I told you what was going to happen. The 25th Amendment can be retroactively applied here, especially when a massive criminal RICO conspiracy was utilized to prevent the constitutional application of the 25th Amendment. This was not a political strategy to hide Biden's true condition from the public while other unelected people hid behind him as they made executive branch policy and govern the country for 4 years. The American people were the victims of a massive criminal fraud. This was a crime. Hell yes, it's going to be investigated. They're going to find out who was wielding the auto pen, and those people are going to prison. We shall see. Is he talking about the big, beautiful bill here?
Find out what happened, because Biden, look, it's a very sad thing what happened, but we're going to start looking into this whole thing with who signed this legislation. Who signed legislation opening our border? I don't think he knew. I said there's nobody that would want an open border. Nobody. And now I find out that it wasn't him. He auto-penned it.
Nobody in their right mind.
Who was operating the auto-pen? This is a very serious thing. We had a president that didn't sign anything. He auto-penned almost everything. He opened the borders of the United States of America. And I kept saying, who would do such a thing? Allowing criminals to pour in from all over the world, not just South America, all over the world. They came in from Africa, they came in from Asia, they came from the Congo. The prisons in the Congo in Africa, these are rough people. The prisons from the Congo are empty. You know where they are? They're in this country. Who would sign this? Nobody would sign it. No sane person would sign it. You know who signed it? Radical left lunatics that were running our country, and the auto pen signed it. And they didn't want him, and they were disappointed in getting him because they wanted Bernie Sanders. And then after about 2 weeks, they said, wait a minute, this is a gift. He'll do anything. We're going to use the auto pen. And they used the auto pen and everything. He didn't approve this stuff because when Joe Biden was with it, he would never have approved it. You take a look. He would have never approved open borders. Go ahead, another one.
Never forget, this is the way they effortlessly lied to the public about Biden's health, and it should infuriate you. Never trust these propagandists again.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh, my God.
Yeah, you're asking me this question. Oh, my God. What a weird reply. Like she's a third grader.
He's the president of the United States.
He stutter stammer.
United States. I can't even keep up with him.
I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it.
Oh, is it?
Because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
He's probing in Ashley when he's in the shower, allegedly.
Testify, because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm telling you this.
I've been knowing him for 30 years. What?
This guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging.
He's thinking about 10% for the big guy.
He is capable. He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
Yeah, he's at the top of his game if the goal is to flood every sovereign nation with people from parts unknown to wreck each nation.
So he has a vision, he has knowledge, he has judgment, he has strategic thinking.
I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him.
Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Him expertly guide meetings of staff and cabinet members.
Really?
I could not have more confidence in the president.
I could not have more confidence.
I would just tell you that
Millie, what a clown.
I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine.
And by the way, look at the body language. Look how he's shaking his head no.
Just fine.
Just fine.
But he is, again, knowledgeable, wise.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing,
sharp and probing and
incredible command of the details.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow...
suggestions that somehow...
he's not sharp and he's not capable.
We see Joe Biden up close.
Oh, do we? Acting so believably.
We know how attuned he is to the issue.
And you're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
He's
an asset to you who's cosplaying as president.
Wise. Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience.
And his experience, because of his age and his wisdom, has
been invaluable to this country.
A lot of countries, people
the heck
who've been in office a longer period of time are praised for their wisdom.
I have seen a lot of 72-year-olds.
Have you?
Not as capable as this 80-year-old.
It is hard for us to keep up.
It is hard for us to keep up
with this president.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with the lies.
Mental acuity is great. It's fine.
Yeah, you have 6 ways from Sunday to lie to us.
It's as good as it's been over the years. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that
Oh, right-wing propaganda. Never believe Chucky Schumer.
His mental acuity is declined is wrong.
And this kind of sense that he's not ready for this job is just a bucket of BS that's so deep, your boots will get stuck in.
A bucket of BS so deep your boots will get stuck. Okay, pal. There you go. President Trump going after Thomas Massie. I don't like this at all.
Say it. I'm a fiscal hawk.
You're a fiscal hawk and you do $1 trillion military budget?
I'm a bigger fiscal hawk. There's nobody like me as a fiscal hawk.
But nobody like you as a fiscal hawk. Stop it, Trump.
That's more deficit than Biden did. This bill kind of
because we have to fix the country.
Do you think that's
and we do have to fix the country. That's if there was a way to get President Trump to agree that this budget is bullshit, it's way too much spending. We have a lot to fix, but in the second budget, we're going to reduce it by 25% or 50%. Then I could go along with it. I was against it, but then I said, you know what? Just like in my homeowners association, I took over. There were a million things that we had to fix. And we needed a budget for it. We had to double our HOA dues. Nobody wanted that. But I did because I wanted to paint every building, 25 buildings. So yeah, that's a big deal. So you can't be a budget hawk and get a super huge budget that's going to add a ton of debt. You can say, I've got a lot to fix. I'm going to overspend in year 1 and then cut it drastically in year 2.
Thomas Massie is correct in saying that this is adding Biden level
No, I don't think Thomas Massie understands government. I think he's a...
Okay, that's an unfair insult. I'm getting tired of the attacks on Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie's one of the best that our government has.
A grandstander, frankly.
A grandstander, frankly. He's fighting to reduce the spending because we have $36 trillion on a credit card. To be fair to Trump, it's not like he put it all there. Well, Trump spent plenty during COVID. Yes, during COVID, everybody lost their damn minds as they used it as a tool to make sure they could run Trump out of office. I get it. That wasn't all Trump spending. 2/3 of that was COVID spending. Craziness.
He'll probably vote. We don't even talk to him much. I think he should be voted out of office. And
Oh, stop it. You should vote him out of office. He's the best person in Congress that we have.
just don't think he understands government. If you ask him a couple of questions, he never gives you an answer. He just says, I'm a no. He thinks he's going to get publicity. And you have that. You have that. They've got some too. Go ahead.
Mr. President,
say it.
So I'm against President Trump here. We said, no, Mr. President. Representative Massie understands that the bloated, reckless spending needs to be cut. Doge was a nice start, but the spending is the problem. How can we balance a budget while overspending? It doesn't make sense, and it's disappointing to see so much spending pass. All right? All right. This is a conversation here with Cheryl Atkinson about Congress and special interests and the influence. You can watch that later. The big, beautiful bill will add $20 trillion of federal debt over 10 years, and that's according to the authors of it. There's another huge problem. It will increase the price of the $36 trillion of debt that we already have as bond buyers realize that we aren't fiscally responsible. Moody's cuts America's pristine credit rating, citing rising debt. And Brian Cates here saying this about the WNBA. The WNBA is a joke sports league. It had an opportunity to call out the abuse that Caitlin Clark is subjected to, along with the favoritism the refs give to Angel Reese. They dropped the ball. They're one game in a new season, and it's blown up in their faces yet again. They're just absolutely blasting Caitlin Clark, fouling the hell out of her, pounding her into the ground. Oh, but they want to investigate fans for not cheering for Angel Reese. What? Anyway, check out yesterday's show about Biden's aggressive cancer proving years of lies, and Scott Adams announcing that he has the same affliction. Prayers for a miracle to Scott Adams, one of the best pundits out there. I certainly hope. I don't know. He's a man of resources, and he's a sharp investigator of things. If there was something he could have done to help himself, including fenbenzidol and ivermectin, things he's tried that haven't worked, I don't know. But if there were a miracle that could help him, it sure would be nice. Otherwise, he said he only has a couple months left. It's a damn shame. It was one of my favorite shows. It is one of my favorite shows. And I did put a request out to interview him. I'll have to maybe try another channel to see if I might be able to make something like that happen. But that was what I had for you today. Tune in tomorrow, where we're going to be back with John B. Wells at 1 p.m. Eastern. We rescheduled from today to tomorrow. And he's an all-time favorite of the show. He's been on for, I don't know how many episodes he's been on. Maybe I could look. More than 5, under 10, maybe 5 to 10, maybe. But it's been a long time. He and I was, I'll bring it up maybe in a little bit more detail tomorrow. But I was negotiating with BBC to do a television show called All American Conspiracy, and I was gonna have the chance to bring somebody else in, and I reached out to John B. Wells right away. I was like, "Hey, John, you want to do a TV show?" But it's the BBC, and if you know about the BBC, you know who they are. So anyway, that's what I have for today. Thank you, David. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, everybody else who was out there watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.